Hi everyone, sorry it's been a minute since my last video. I was gonna record this a couple weeks ago, but I've been fighting a really bad cold for like 2 weeks now, and I didn't want to record when I sounded all nasty and snotty. Anyway, I read the 2006 novel World War Z, An Oral History of the Zombie War by Max Brooks. And then I watched the film that came out in 2013, I believe, starring Brad Pitt. I'm going to compare both, and at the end of this video, I'll tell you which one I think is better. There will be spoilers, so here's your warning. World War Z is a follow-up of sorts to Brooks's 2003 book, The Zombie Survival Guide. So this guy has a bit of a thing for zombies, and I'm about it. World War Z, as I was reading it, I was like, this is going to be a difficult book to adapt into a film because there's no real central narrative character that you follow. It's just a collection of interviews with various people from around the world. The book does kind of have a central character, a UN employee who's the one doing all the interviews, but he's really faceless and nameless and you don't really know much about him at all. Different when it comes to the film, we'll get to that in a minute, but the book starts with brief accounts from various people all over the world. China, Tibet, Greece, Brazil, South America, Israel. This book spans the entire globe, and it's talking about their experiences and what they witnessed at the outbreak of this plague virus. And then it goes into accounts of the period known as the Great Panic, when people all over the world panic over the outbreak, and the various obstacles and failures of world governments trying to combat this thing. And then mixed in with all that is personal accounts from kind of everyday people who experienced trauma and great horror. And then it kind of concludes into accounts of the total war effort by various governments. And for me, I found the different perspectives that you got from different people, from different places, talking about different topics. It, to me, made the book feel really fresh and new with every chapter. I mean, you do feel a little bit detached because you're not with a main character throughout the book that you know much about. Every time you're introduced to somebody new, you're with them for a few pages and then they're basically forgotten about and you're on to the next person to tell a new story, which didn't ruin the book for me at all. I actually found this book highly enjoyable, and I really loved reading it. And I thought that the level of detail that Brooks brought to the book, especially when dealing with the military, I thought was really impressive, and it got me wondering, who is Max Brooks? He seems like a guy really intelligent, does his research, so I looked him up and I learned that he is the son of legendary filmmaker and comedian Mel Brooks, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about the movie. Came out in 2013, it's directed by Mark Forster, and it stars Brad Pitt as Jerry Lane, a former United Nations employee who traverses the globe trying to find any kind of answers as to how this zombie apocalypse pandemic started and how to stop it. It's not a bad zombie movie. In fact, I think it's a pretty decent zombie movie. However, it has no business sharing a name with Brooks's book. This movie is nothing like the book, like almost at all. First of all, Brooks did not write the screenplay for the film. I think I read that he was maybe offered it, but turned it down or didn't want to do it because he didn't think he was an experienced enough screenwriter to do it justice. Let's talk about the similarities because it'll only take about 5 seconds. Both the book and the film feature a central character who is a former United Nations employee who travels the world and talks to people about the zombie outbreak. And that's about where the similarities end. The movie decides to tell a vastly different story, which I do understand. It focuses on the character Jerry Lane, who's Brad Pitt, and his family. He's got a wife and 2 young girls. It starts off in their home, they're eating breakfast, and then you witness the zombie outbreak from their point of view. And it was a pretty riveting opening act, but none of these characters or events are in the book. At one point in the film, Jerry finds himself on an airplane with a zombie on board. There's an explosion, the plane crashes, of course, Lane survives. Again, an entertaining part of the movie, but nothing like this is depicted in the book. And let's take the ending, because this represents a major difference between the book and the film. So a few different times throughout the movie, Brad Pitt's character sees zombies completely avoiding or not even noticing certain people, and he eventually comes up with a hypothesis that those people are seriously sick. The zombies aren't interested in them because they only want healthy hosts to spread their virus. So the third act of the movie takes place at a World Health Organization laboratory. By the way, funny side note, I was looking at the cast of this film on IMDb and I thought it was pretty humorous that Peter Capaldi, the actor, he's listed as Who Doctor, W-H-O Doctor, but he was also in the show Doctor Who as the Doctor, so he's played both Who Doctor and Doctor Who. Get it? Anyway, at the laboratory, Lane tells the doctors about his theory, and he tests it by injecting himself with a serious disease. And ta-da! He's able to walk right past the zombies. The movie then goes on to show the mass production of this zombie vaccine, which ends up turning the tide of the zombie war. Not how the book ends at all. So in the book, militaries of the world basically just hunt all the zombies down and kill them by herding them into traps and then shooting the shit out of them. It's described a lot cooler in the book, but obviously a vastly different outcome, and one that I frankly thought was a little bit more fun, maybe a little bit more realistic. One more thing about the movie. I remember I did see this movie many years ago when it first came out. I thought it looked really cool. I went and saw it in the theater, and I remember being kind of disappointed with the film, and I think that's because the movie suffered from misleading marketing. First of all, the movie's called World War Z, so I envisioned a movie about a massive war effort against huge zombie hordes. And a lot of that's due to the fact that every time I saw a trailer for this movie when it came out, they always hyped up and showed this scene from the movie. This takes place in Israel in the film, and it was a fun part of the movie. But I also thought the whole movie was gonna be these giant zombie hordes and armies taking them on, which was not the case, which is fine, but I do think that the marketing made it seem like that was the movie that you were gonna get. And the movie was smaller and a little bit more contained. You're basically following one character around various spots around the world. It's not a huge war movie. I also think that this movie suffers from one of my pet peeves, which is the overuse of CGI. There is a lot. All right, which one is better? Again, I do think that World War Z is a pretty decent zombie movie. I've got some quarrels with it, but overall, a good, fun movie. However, I did just really like the book by Max Brooks, so pretty easy decision here. The book is better than the film. Again, really fun book. If you like zombies and you haven't read the book, check it out. I'm probably going to pick up a copy of the Zombie Survival Guide now, just because I liked World War Z so much. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Please give it a like, subscribe, and tell your friends about this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos in the near future. I'll see you later.